Rise.
Hi everyone, welcome to Rise of the Retro Arcade, episode 1! This is a YouTube series that I've been planning on making for some time now. My name's Ben, I'm owner of the 1989 arcade bar here in Newtown in Sydney. We've been open for a few years now, and ever since I opened this place back in August 2016, I've always planned to do a YouTube channel around the retro video game scene, especially the arcade scene. But it's taken me a few years to kind of get to this point. I won't be doing any tech videos because I'm not a tech dude. My knowledge of arcades is kind of limited in terms of the fixing. I'm more of a player and historian. I love the history of video games, especially this one behind me, which is the first game I ever bought in my arcade collection many years ago, and I named the bar after it. It's my original Konami Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade. So yeah, welcome to the channel. You know, if you love arcade games as much as I do, hopefully you will get something from this channel as well. Back in May 2018, I popped home for a few weeks, and I was lucky enough to hang out with Andy Palmer from Arcade Club Bury in Manchester. I filmed an interview with Andy, and I got taken on a tour around level 3 of Arcade Club. Now, Arcade Club is an amazing retro arcade. It also has VR, it also has esports, it has all sorts of stuff, but it's the largest retro arcade in Europe. They've just opened up a new site in Manchester. No, hold on. That is where the arcade club is. No, he's opened up a new site in Leeds. So that's really exciting. Now he has two massive classic retro arcades. So I really implore you, if you're in the UK or if you're an arcade collector or enthusiast and you're traveling around the world, do give Arcade Club a visit. This interview was back in March 2018. We're now May 2019, so it's taken me a few months to get to this edit, but it is really cool. Andy is such a great guy. He's really knowledgeable. Arcade Club is a huge inspiration for me with what I'm doing in my arcade and for others around the world. So what you're going to see is a partial part of his arcade, and it's amazing. I mean, he's got tons of cabs from all over the world, America, UK, Japan. I mean, you'll see in this video, and you'll see the passion that Andrew has for what he's doing. So enough of this guy warbling on. I do hope you subscribe to this channel and keep an eye out for all the other fun stuff we're doing. But please sit back and enjoy this interview with Andy Palmer of Arcade Club UK.
Arcade Club is the memories that everyone thought they would never be able to recreate now. From the 80s and the 90s, Arcade Club is about a time when people had easier lives, simpler lives. There was no mortgages, there was no kids, all the pressures of modern life. I mean, everybody now has so much social media, everyone has email, they have Facebook messages, they have WhatsApp, and all the other things. Everyone has such busy lives now. So when people come in here, they tend to switch off from modern life and just enjoy a time that they thought they'd never see again. This is Ridge Racer. This game is, when I went to Blackpool, I put £20 to one side just to play this game. It was one of the first, it was £1 to go. Now this machine was probably between 15,000 and 20,000 when it was first released. A guy traded me a few cabs for this amazing machine. I can't actually believe I own an original deluxe Ridge Racer. Fabulous machine, 6 gears. When Namco were at the top of the game, Namco seemed to have slipped recently, but this is when they were at the pinnacle of 3D technology in arcades. Absolutely fabulous game. I got interested in video games around 1983, I think it was, when I got a Spectrum 16K for Christmas. When I got the Spectrum, I think one of the first games we got was always a game called Arcadia by Imagine, which I now know through obviously having an arcade club, that it was based on a Sega game. That was probably the best game that we had. When me and brother got it, we played it, and it was, oh my God, it's just like an arcade machine, which obviously, in hindsight, it's not. But to us, it was amazing to actually have something in our house that could play games that mirrored what was in the arcade. Shinobi, yes, people phone up many times, do you have Shinobi, do you have Shinobi? And they'll travel here just to play Shinobi. It was basically what you call a chip shop game in the UK. So you'd see it in a lot of chip shops back in the 80s, and everybody absolutely adores Shinobi. Gryzor, WrestleFest, Alcon, which is actually called Slap Fight in the UK, but Alcon in other territories like America. Strider, very strong game. Probably Capcom at their finest, came at the same era as Ghouls and Ghosts on the same board set, CPS-1. We have Ghosts and Goblins, which people again travel for many miles to be able to play again. Arcade collecting started in the late 80s, early 90s. There was a company in Bury called Leisure Time Automatics. A friend called Alan, who's retired, but still he still comes to Arcade Club. He couldn't believe that someone was crazy enough to open an arcade in this day and age. And I bought a lot of boards from him, for instance, Strider, R-Type, very, very popular games. They only cost £40, which in the late 80s, early 90s was pretty much the same price as the Mega Drive cartridge if you purchased it new. So very early on I realised I could obviously own the original arcade board rather than a game port, which was generally inferior to the original arcade. So very, very quickly I got into collecting boards. I amassed over 100 boards of all the great games and just sat on them basically for about 10 or 15 years. Occasionally it'd pique me interest and I'd play a couple of games, but generally just in a cupboard. There was actually a point probably about 15 years ago that I said, I should really sell these because I know they're going to fail eventually, the chips. They're currently working at the moment. But luckily my girlfriend again talks about it and said, no, let's keep them, you know, you might want them in the future. Final Fight, one of the first buddy beat-em-ups, where you and a friend would take on gangs, etc. scrolling. Instantly enough, it's one of the first games you couldn't complete on one credit. You would be killed halfway through, and you would have to put more money in to continue, which, you know, people thought was a little bit of jit back in the day, unfortunately. Commando, fabulous game. Kung Fu Master, again, one we get phone calls and emails for. Do you have this game? People remember that. Again, another chip shop cab. Found in many chip shops during the 80s when you were queuing for your fish and chips. You'd have a cab like that, you put 10 and 20 pence in, and we'd play away. Dedicated cabs, I started buying, it'd be 2000, just after 2000. That started initially with the Japanese candy cabs. Those piqued my interest in arcades again, because they were very, very living room friendly, because they looked stunning. And there's a nice big 28-inch nano screen, which were absolutely fantastic picture. And obviously the cave shooters started coming out then, and everyone was into bullet hell shooters, which I'm a shooter myself. I love games like R-Type, as well as the cave shooters. And that's probably when I started looking into arcades, but not as a business point of view, just as a personal thing. The business of the arcades only started when the computer shop started declining, and I was looking for something else to do. But I wanted to do something that was enjoyable because it wore me down a little bit, the computer shops and stuff. It was a little bit soul destroying because it was like nobody wanted to upgrade from Vista, and it's just it was a horrible interface operating system at the time, and it was a little bit depressing, to be honest with you. Like I say, this Arcade Club has given me a second lease of life, and I want to make the best possible job I can of it. Gauntlet cabs. We actually have Mark Singleton, the world Gauntlet champion, is actually one of our techs. So we're Gauntlet. Show you behind you 1942 again. Another amazing game. This was Capcom's first game and a real turning point for the industry, in my opinion. Wonderful game. Again, another chip shop cab, what you used to see in the chip shops in the UK. Point Blank, when Namco were fabulous, this is what they produced. Great games, very addictive, and people will just play these all night. And the interesting thing is, if you put a gun on that doesn't have the recoil, i.e. the click, won't get played as much. That single click makes the game for a lot of people. Machines that I looked at from a collection point of view for myself were the classics like Robotron, Defender, which I would absolutely love to be better at than I am. By the way, we've seen we recently had Eugene Jarvis visit the arcade. He flew in from Chicago, and all the Defender forums. Jay Ballett did this meet, which was absolutely fantastic, and I really would love to be good at Defender Robotron. I have the machines, I have multiple of them, but unfortunately I'm not very good at them. I think it's just something you were good at the 80s, muscle memory plays a little bit of a part, etc., and if you're good at that, you're good at it forever. We have Asteroids Deluxe, Zaxxon, Black Widow. This is a very interesting game. It's very much like Robotron, but a vector-based one. Not many people know about it, but it's a really, really good game. Well worth hunting down or playing via emulation if you can't find the original cabinet. Frogger, one of Sega's greatest, and this appealed to males and females as Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man did. Probably my pride and joy. It's the Star Wars cockpit. It has a very rare 25-inch Amplifone monitor, which produces a much better display than the 6100s that were replaced once there was an issue with the Ampliphones to do with the flyback. Well, we had a load of pinball machines in our dining room, myself and my girlfriend Gaynor, and I had a load of PCBs, and we had some arcade machines, we had a load in storage, and we were dusting them more than playing them, which I thought was a bit of an injustice really to them. I mean, we was kind of hoarding them, if you like. But the problem is with collectors, they end up being collectors and not actually playing or utilising what they're collecting. It's just the nature of being a collector. So I wanted to come up with an idea we could actually maintain the machines because they're quite high maintenance with the aging electronics. So we came up with, we put 30 in one of our computer shops at the time, and we charged £10 for 4 hours and included some basic food like Coca-Cola, tea, coffee, biscuits, etc. And everyone loved it. Then the BBC got involved and catapulted us into the stratosphere, and since then we've never looked back, and it's been a pretty vertical business for around 3.5 years now we've been open. Pole position, this is a Namco imported one from Japan. The board set's a lot stronger than the original, well, the Atari version. The Atari version's an absolute nightmare to keep going. The Namco produced PCB though, for us anyway, seems a lot more reliable. Cuba, since films like Pixels came out, etc., we have a lot of children saying Jeff Cuba is one of the most loved characters of that film, so Cuba gets a lot of play and a lot of love. Games you'd expect to find here, Dig Dug, Pac-Man, the original Tron, the Flynn's Arcade. You know, you have to have a Tron if you're doing the Golden Era Circle. We have Galaxian, Centipede, Asteroids, and here we have Charlie Farr's 1.2 million high score. These are version 3 ROMs, which is the hardest version. All the little bugs have been removed, and Charlie Farr, who comes here very, very frequently, is actually the Galaxian World Champion. Frequently puts amazing scores on all our machines that nobody can beat. Centipede, that's getting a lot of love at Arcade Club at the moment. We have a group of about 5 or 6 people that are continuously beating each other's score, and they travel from many, many miles away just to compete against each other. I love finding the machines. We seek them out globally now and get them all back together to create a long-lost era that nobody believes would ever exist anymore. We get many, many people coming into Arcade Club, and you can tell they've not been here before because they have tears in their eyes. They're wandering around in a daze around all the machines, and I've had many, many people come up to me and just go like, I never thought I would see this again in my lifetime. I thought this era was gone and lost in time forever, and to do that service to people is an amazing feeling. Scramble, this was a very difficult cab to find. Took me a long time, and this is in very good condition. It still has a screen print on the original metal that hasn't been scratched off, and it's not got like Bob Loves Jerry scratched into it or anything like that. It's actually in very, very nice condition and truly great game. Phoenix, Flicky, Cricks, Bump and Jump, Tapper. This is an incredibly collectible game. You'll see it in many, many barcades. It's one of the ones I consider needs to be the barcade, really, as it's themed around Budweiser, and it's a great game to boot. This is the English version of Track and Field. As you can see, it's got a Union Jack on its T rather than the American flag, which obviously the American version had. And again, we have ridiculous scores by some people coming in like Paz, 1.4 million on Track and Field. And it's a different cab to the American one as well. It's a little bit lower, and it's produced in England, obviously by Taytell under license from Konami. Joust, this is the one that was actually loaned to Steven Spielberg and Warner Brothers, and actually used within Ready Player One. Hopefully we'll see this exact cab in there. Once we left the shop, I realised that we had to basically go for it, and it was make or break. The worst that could happen with the cabs appreciating in price was we would have to sell maybe half the cabs to recoup the money that we'd thrown into it, but we'd still be able to own our favourite cabs still. So I didn't see it as a risk really at the time. If I was doing it now, I would see it as a serious risk because cab prices have shot up. For instance, I used to be able to buy a non-working Defender off eBay, £300. Now a good working Defender is approaching £1,000, or even more on a good day if it's an auction site. So to do this now would probably take about £500,000. That's if you can find the cabs. Then you have to make them sturdy. You have to make them so they will actually run for 12 hours, which means all the electronics have to be overhauled, power supplies need to be changed, monitors need to be capped, and potentially flybacks. Whenever we buy a cab from, say, a collector, very few of them last a day because the collector will have them on for 20 minutes, where we ask of them 12 hours. So there's a lot of maintenance. Now we've got over 300 cabs in Arcade Club now, and we've managed to bulletproof most of those, and we've done a lot of work on them to make them so they will work for that long Saturday, which is about an hour or two before we open, an hour or two after we open, because now it's about 15 hours duty cycle. Turtles, very, very popular game. One that when people phone up and say, do you have Turtles, as in Simpsons as well. The 4-player games that people just couldn't complete. So this is on a lot of people's bucket list. And once you tell them you've got this and it's free play and they can just credit up away you go, they will play it until they get to the end. Something they couldn't do because they literally ran out of money when they was in their youth. We opened Arcade Club originally here. The shop had 30, the warehouse had 100, and then within 12 months we threw caution to the wind. We didn't have the money to do this. This is quite interesting because we sold an Outrun Deluxe, which I regret now, for £2,000 just to get the deposit for this place. And it was a make or break situation. We threw everything at it that we had, and we opened with 200 cabs. We borrowed a few off some friends to make that magic number of 200. Since then, we've given those cabs back to friends and said, I think there's about, say, 5 or 6 lying around still that people just don't have room for, which they've graciously lent us. And that's basically it. I just went for it. I thought, what's the worst? I said, what's the worst that can happen? We had a 2-year break on the lease. via the landlord. So if it got into trouble, we could have pulled out, so to speak, after a couple of years. But it was a high risk, but at the right time, and fortunately the right person in control. These are Versus Cities, Japanese cabs that are back-to-back. It's like two cabs glued together, so anybody could just jump in and you can fight somebody on a fighting game like Street Fighter, etc. Very, very popular cabs again. We have an Outrun Deluxe, again another one that people travel for. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people just can't believe they can still play an Outrun Deluxe in the UK. Still moves and it's fully operational as it should be. We have an ANC cabinet. This is Ninja Warriors. This has 3 monitors, one in the middle, and 2 of them pointing up via a mirror system, a bit like Space Invaders, to create a widescreen aspect ratio. I think I'm pretty well down there. But Outrun 2, hard driving. Outrun 2, very popular game. We'll have another couple of these so we can link 4 together. Most of the cabs, when we source them, are sourced remotely. We don't tend to do many trips like a lot of collectors do, to other countries. So there's a lot of logistical things involved in landing a cab from America into the UK for customs, etc. Luckily, a friend of mine, James, he runs a container which we use to bring stuff in from the States. From Japan, we're currently dealing with operators in Japan to bring them in as well. But it's the sales tax, etc., that comes in, and obviously the duty you have to pay in that, and then you have to get them off the wagon, which generally doesn't have a tail lift, so you have to have access to a forklift to be able to get them off the container that comes in. So there's quite a lot of little adventures you have, etc. I don't have the windswept adventures of some collectors that tend to go all over the world doing all sorts of crazy things to them, because I'm generally here, and if I'm not here, I'm always worrying about, is everything okay here? So this is kind of like my life, and it's in my DNA now, and this is what I want to do and what I enjoy doing. Paperboy, again, another one that people will travel for. Bit of a Sega going on here, Afterburner, Power Drift, incredible Atari APB, Chase HQ, Operation Thunderbolt, follow-up to Operation Wolf. Well, we'll take it down here now, see some beats up. A lot of people ask me what my favourite games are in an arcade club, top 10 list if you like. I mean, if I had to answer that, which I answer it very frequently, the best cabs I feel in arcade club are the Star Wars Cockpit, which has a 25-inch Amplifone monitor. That's a very, very special cab. That's very, very rare now. And with Star Wars being hot again, they've shot up in value like crazily. It's quite mad now. R-Type, that's a personal favourite for mine. It was one that when I saw on the R-Type, it really blew me away. Salamander, another fantastic game with a speech. And that was brilliant. I played that in an arcade in Windermere when my mother father used to take us up to the lakes. There's an arcade. More shooter-based, definitely. I'm more into the shooter games. Ghouls and Ghosts, I played the conversion on the Mega Drive, which is very, very good, playability-wise. When you put it next to the arcade, it's not quite good, actually, graphic-wise. But those are probably my favourite games that I go back to and play frequently. Super Sprint, very popular. People remember that from many, many years ago. Three-player game. We have Sega Rally. Another fabulous game. Actually one of my favourite Sega Rally. It really is. It's lost nothing. Time has been very, very kind to it. It still has all that playability from years ago. We have some follow-ups as well from the second wave of the arcade revolution back in the early 90s. We have Galaga 88, which is obviously the follow-up to Galaga. Very, very good game in my opinion, and a wonderful conversion on the PC Engine. Didn't really see many conversions to any other consoles. Pac-Mania, very successful conversion on the Amiga, where you had the original Pac-Man. It had 16 colours of yellow using hardware sprites on the Amiga. You had a full PAL scroll, which is very, very nice. The original Galaga as well. Again, brilliant game, absolutely fantastic. You probably remember it in an old 80s film called War Games. I think at the moment there's a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon of the movement of retrospectively looking back at gaming from the 80s and 90s. Some people are doing that in the correct way, other people are looking at it from a profit point of view. I think you've got to want to do it for the right reasons. If you just think, I'll put some arcades in a room, open it, people will give me money, that will fail probably quite quickly. If you do something like we've done with Arcade Club, where we source the correct cabs, we've got them up to spec, we've got the correct staff working for us, and we're prepared to look towards the future as well, not just the past. You've got to look at all aspects of gaming to succeed in gaming in this day and age. You can't just go, we've got Pac-Man, we've got Space Invaders. People won't turn up 20 or 30 times to play Pac-Man. Yeah? We see people, especially the younger generation, press start on Pac-Man, and then they will just walk away halfway through the game. It's just not for them. You've got to cater for everybody. And I think people lose sight of that, and they get blinded by the retro movement, and they just think it's Pac-Man, Space Invaders, and the normal style watch you'd expect. City Star, very hard to get cab to get hold of, as well as Joust 2, again, it's quite a rare cab. Karate Champ, one that people request again. It's one that I can't remember in the arcades in my youth, but there were a few out there because a lot of people ask whether we have it. Tetris. Well, this has got an interesting cab. This is my nod back. A lot of people wonder why there's Wonder Boy inside Rolling Thunder. That's because this is what used to happen in the 80s. An operator would put any old game board and not bother changing the top. So people think that it's a nod to the 80s because this is what used to happen. It used to be infuriating. Go, oh, they got Rolling Thunder. Oh no, it's Wonder Boy. We have a Rolling Thunder cab as well, so don't worry, we do have that. But it's just that's my nod back to the way operators used to do things wrong in the 80s. Smash TV, follow-up to Robotron by Eugene Jarvis. Fabulous game. It's a very successful conversion onto the Super Nintendo as well. Mega Drive version I didn't care for, but the Super Nintendo version was fabulous. It's important to keep arcades alive because it's something that needs to be. This is like a modern museum, if you like. Yeah, I never ever market it as a museum because I believe museums, the word museum, is the kiss of death for a lot of things because it's so stuffy. It's a living arcade, this, and a living museum, if you want to call it that way. And it's just amazing. It's amazing seeing 99.9% of people leave here with they're happy. The door staff, they often say to me like, "This is such a wonderful job," because everybody who leaves here is just in awe. They're all talking, "This place is amazing, mate. Wait till I tell my friends. I can't believe this place exists." And that's why our staff are probably the happiest staff in the UK because it's so easy to work with customers who are all happy.
So there we go, Andy Palmer from Arcade Club UK. What a great guy and what a fun time. Please subscribe to the channel. Hopefully we're going to do more fun things and talk to more fun people and do various other sort of videos all based around the retro scene, the arcade scene, video gaming, all that kind of fun stuff. So if you like this, please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next episode. All right, bye.